Jemi këtu me gazetarin Yousef Alhelou, I cili është nga Gaza, nga Palestina, mirëpo vepron në Londër, tash një kohë të gjatë, ka punu për Al Jazeerën, edhe raportimet e tij kryesisht kanë qenë nga Gaza. Alhelou, hera fundit e cili ka qenë në Gaza, ka qenë në verën e vitit të kaluar, ku ka dokumentuar krejt bukuritë e Gazës edhe ato se çka njerëzit mundën me pa në Gaza dhe pse nuk ka qenë asnjëherë vend I hapur për turist. Sot e kena në intervistë edhe kena me tentu që me marrë sa më shumë informacione mbi ato se çfarë ndodh për Gaza nga perspektiva një gazetari I cili ton familjen e tij na e ka në Gaza, mandje motra e tij bashku me 6 fëmijë është vrarë nga bombardimet e Izraelit. Hello Yousef.
Oh, thank you.
Nice having you here. Before we start the interviews, I would like to express my condolence for the loss of your family and everything that they're going through. I'm sure I cannot imagine the pain that you're feeling right now. And thank you for finding time to speak with me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I didn't ask to be born as Palestinian. I just got lucky. And as a Palestinian journalist who have been covering Gaza for almost 25 years, it's my moral obligation to continue reporting on Gaza despite the fact I'm not present. Sadly, I lost members of my close family, my sister and her 6 children. They were bombed inside their house, and their remains, their bodies are still under the rubble until this moment, since last December. I was lucky that I visited Gaza City last summer, and I saw my family, including my sister, who's martyred now. May Allah grant her Jannah in paradise. It's very painful to see my people suffering, being collectively punished by Israel. Gaza is the largest open concentration camp, and during this genocide, Israel has transformed it into the world's largest extermination camp, because there is no safe place in Gaza. I grew up in the alleyways of Gaza City. I received education at United Nations schools. We felt that it's our fate to be born under military occupation, and it's so sad that the world is allowing this genocide to go on, despite the atrocities. 50,000 people, including 15,000 children, killed, in addition to over 100,000 people injured. Much of Gaza has been destroyed. The civic life has been destroyed. So it's unacceptable that this genocide, the most documented digital genocide ever, being documented by the victims themselves, this suffering has to end.
You still have members of your family in Gaza. Can you describe for us what it's like, what is life right now in Gaza? What are they telling? Are you being able to contact with them, and what are they saying about the daily life right now?
Yeah, I managed to contact them from time to time, despite the lack of communication, because Israel controls the internet, controls the frequency of Gaza. Gaza is a big prison. We cannot leave, we cannot enter. We used to have an airport in the year 2000. Israel destroyed it. We don't have a seaport. So people are trapped. My family, they live in the northern part of Gaza, in Gaza City. They had to leave the house on a number of occasions to seek shelter at a different location. They are being starved. Members of my family, they lost at least 20-25 kilograms of their weight because they cannot find the healthy, proper food. No vegetables, no fruit, no meat, no fish, no medicine. They only survive on food cans, and it's almost expired, and some flour. They're telling me that they are waiting the moment of their own death because the bombs don't stop. The tank shelling doesn't stop. Gaza is a very densely populated area, and if a bomb falls on any geographical site, it will definitely kill and injure and maim so many people. You've got 2.5 million people live in a 360 square kilometer. Can you imagine? The population of Gaza is double the population of Kosovo, for example. So they are waiting for the moment to hear good news about a ceasefire or an end to this genocide. It's almost going to be a year now. Can you imagine a genocide lasts for a year? They are mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. There is no safety. They couldn't get one night of proper sleep. They are distracted because of the flying of the Israeli reconnaissance drones all the time. And they are distressed. Their children are distressed. Can you imagine, this is the second year. Students, they didn't go to school or universities. Israel destroyed all of Gaza's 6 universities, schools, mosques, universities, churches, bakeries, infrastructure. Everything is being destroyed in Gaza for fun, under the pretext of self-defense. We know that the world is complicit. There is international conspiracy of silence. There is double standard policy compared Palestine to Ukraine. Palestinians, they have been suffering long enough. And the suffering of Palestinians didn't start on the 8th of October. It started 76 years ago.
You were born and grew up in Gaza. How was for you as a kid growing up under occupation all the time? We know that all this didn't start on October 7. So how was for you to go to school and your daily life under Israeli occupation?
Yeah, I remember in my primary school seeing Israeli military jeeps patrol the streets of Gaza City, and they shoot at Palestinian people, especially students, kids. I saw dead bodies in front of my eyes when I was a little kid. This influenced our personalities, that why this is happening to us. We should be normal people. We should live in peace and without intimidation, without violence. And this reshaped our personalities. This made us, feel that we have to do something to liberate our land. And our grandparents, our parents, they taught us about how they were forced to flee their homes back in 1948 and 1967. I'm a descendant of a refugee, but I was born in Gaza. My father and his grandfather, they were kicked out from historic Palestine, about several kilometers away from Gaza. And by the way, 2/3 of Gaza population are descendants of refugees. That's why Gaza is considered the capital of resistance in Palestine, because you've got at least 2 million people are refugees, and only 500,000 are the original population. So being a kid was born in Gaza, this pushed me to become a journalist, because I wanted to tell the story of my people. I wanted to expose the crimes. And education is indispensable for us. So I was lucky, I was awarded a scholarship. I did journalism at Oxford University. Telling the truth is in our blood, and we will never stop.
Here in Kosovo, we don't see a large support of Palestine, and we don't see people much supporting Palestine, because it has to do much about, because Palestine do not recognize independence of Kosovo. You, as a Palestinian, how do you see this?
We Palestinians, we appreciate the support of anybody, regardless of their nationality, ethnicity, political affiliation, because we are left alone in this conflict. And we saw millions of people demonstrated in capitals worldwide. I'm happy and honored to be in Pristina, in Kosovo. I also was present in Tirana, Albania. This is an interesting region for me to be in the Balkan, because you experience similar injustice and oppression. So I wanted to learn about your history and to sympathize with you. And you also showed solidarity with us. I've learned about how you, some young people, they organized a number of demonstrations and solidarity. This makes me happy to see people understand our suffering, because our suffering didn't start on the 7th of October. Israel focused on that day because they wanted to justify their attacks, and they created all the kind of lies and fabrications because they wanted an excuse to attack Palestinians. So we, people of Palestine, we appreciate the support of any nation worldwide. Kosovo's people, people in Albania, worldwide. There are so many Jewish people who support our just cause. So maybe there is some misconception. Maybe our politicians, They angered the people of Kosovo because of the lack of recognition of Kosovo as a country. But as a Palestinian, if I had the power now, I would recognize Kosovo straight away right now. So I would like to tell the young generation that our politicians might have been aligned themselves with your enemy or with parties that you dislike, but we people, we shouldn't be punished for the decisions that our leaders took. I'm talking about Yasser Arafat.
Yeah, Yasser Arafat met with the butcher of Balkan, with Slobodan Milosevic, in the middle of the war that was going on in Kosovo, in the middle of the war crime that they were committed in Kosovo. So from Belgrade, and he submitted his support for Milosevic. So this is engraved in many Kosovar memory, because they saw that on the news when they were waiting for the support from anyone that they could get, and then they saw Yasser Arafat meeting with Milosevic. So I think this has to play, because older generation, it's mainly telling us because we don't support Palestine and they don't care much what is happening because of that. So do you think this has to do with the lack of the support, or does Yasser Arafat represent the people's opinion? Because
no, I think the reason, I'm not justifying his move. I think he did that move because he was looking for different new allies, because the U.S. has never been an honest piece of broker to the Palestinians. So he was seeking some help from Russia, maybe from Serbia, but maybe due to lack of his wisdom, he didn't recognize Kosovo's right to have independence. And I'm not here to say I'm sorry for the Kosovar's people, because I don't represent the Palestinian Authority or Abbas or Arafat, but I can tell you politics is dirty, and I think Kosovo should be recognized as an independent state. I truly appreciate your support to the Palestinian people, but you never know. This might change in the near future.
hopefully it will.
Yeah, of course, because we suffer from oppression and occupation from the Israelis, and you have the right to be independent and without intimidation from your neighbors. So maybe he did that because he was pissed off from the American stance, from also the lack of the Arab support, because we feel the pain that our Arab countries, Islamic world, they don't support us. So maybe he wanted to shake hands with any leader worldwide who was willing to give him arms. Maybe he was looking to arm the Palestinian resistance. Maybe he took that move for different ideas in his mind. But you have the right to be recognized.
Does every oppressed country have the right of resistance? Because what you can see, it's mainly people blaming Hamas for what happened since October 7.
Most people who gained their independence from colonialism, they gained it by armed struggle. Some, lucky ones, gained their independence by peaceful means. If you ask anybody, if somebody comes to your house, stole your house, and just push you to live in one room of the house, of course you might accept this temporary, but when you become stronger, then you will regain the ownership of their house using any means available. Resistance is legal under international law. People have the right to resist the occupiers. Why people of Ukraine have the right to resist the Russian invasion? Why this doesn't apply to Palestinians? So double standards again, hypocrisy, international double standard policy. So I guess Palestinians, they tried both options. We tried the peace process, which was signed by Arafat with Ishaq Rabin in 1994 in Oslo Accords, and by the end of the year 2000, between 1993, 94, 2000, we should have been able to establish our Palestinian state. But during that peaceful era, Israel tripled its settlement expansion, they killed so many people, they did not agree to allow us to establish our Palestinian state. And that peace accords came to crush the first uprising, which started in 1987. Then the second uprising, the second intifada, started in the year 2000. when Ariel Sharon, the prime minister at the time, he provoked Palestinians and visited the holy site of Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa Mosque. And this started for some years. So people always have the right to resist with all means available. But of course, we are against killing of civilians from both sides. But Israel enjoys impunity. Israel kills civilians, children, women. They carry out all kind of heinous crimes. Israel, a country above the international law, it doesn't respect any Geneva Convention. It crossed all red lines. It enjoys impunity. That's why they don't care. Netanyahu doesn't care what his army is doing in Gaza, starving people, exterminating people. So what happened on the 7th of October, as everybody agree, it's a prison break. People broke out of the prison after being under siege for 18 years. We know things happen, bad things happen, but Israel must not commit a genocide. What happened on the 7th of October does not give a right to Israel to carry out a genocide that is ongoing up till now for almost a year. So people are fed up. I mean, we tried non-violent struggle, didn't work. Palestinians tried armed struggle, didn't work. And by the way, you guys, you have here the Kosovo and Liberation Army. So Palestinians also, they adopted the armed struggle. People are fed up. They don't know what to do with Israel. Israel doesn't want Palestinians to stay in Palestine, and it does what it's doing in Gaza, West Bank, Jerusalem, to drive the population of Palestine outside the land, because they are not interested to give us a Palestinian state, despite the UN partition 1947 that we should be granted a Palestinian state. So they say that the land is too small, they want a Jewish state, and they are doing their best to kick us out of the land. So what's happening in Gaza now is a continuation of the ethnic cleansing that started in 1948.
Do you think the lack of support from Arab countries pushed other countries not to support Palestine? All those rich Arab countries who are, in a way, silent. They're pretty much silent on what is for the genocide that is happening in Gaza. Do they not see you as Arab country, the Palestine?
So remember, Israel is scaring the region by transforming Gaza into a testing ground. They use all the latest technology to crush the morale and steadfastness of the Palestinian people. And they made Gaza as a scapegoat, an example to other regional countries. If you dare attack Israeli forces, then this is going to be your fate. This is one element that Palestinians, they are dismayed and disappointed from the lack of the Arab support, especially Egypt and Jordan, because they signed peace treaties with Israel, so they don't want to violate their commitment to the peace treaties. This is one aspect of it, why some Western government, they don't intervene, because they say Arab world should absorb some Palestinian refugees, they should intervene. But they know, and we know, that those Arab leaders, they are under pressure from the US administration that you should not oppose Israel, that you should not show your outrage, care about your own people, your internal problems, why you have to care about Palestinians.
Why do you think there's so much pressure from US?
Because they want to support Israel, which is a spoiled brat. Israel is like a spoiled baby. And this baby is grown up, and this baby has become violent baby and cannot be contained. So Israel is given the support and the green light by the US administration, because America wants Israel to be the boogeyman, to scare people in the Middle East, to control the region, to spy on the region, to steal the resources of the region. And under the pretext of that, Jews have the right to exist in Palestine. They existed there 2,000 years ago. This is a promised land by God. And despite the fact that Zionism is a secular movement, but yet they say that the land was promised by God. So there's contradiction, religious versus secularism. This is one aspect that Arab world is not intervening, because they care about their future as presidents. The other part is that those countries, they know that Israel has got powerful lobby, Zionist lobby. And if you criticize the Zionist state, Israel, the Israeli entity, then they will be classified as signing with the resistance in Palestine. They will be classified as anti-Semite, despite the fact we Palestinian Arabs, we are Semite. So we cannot be anti-us, anti-Semite. But the other point is that, America rules the world. the superpower of the world, and anybody who opposes the United States or Israel in the region, they will be punished. And the reason why Hamas sought the assistance of Iran, because the resistance in Palestine did not gain support from the Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, other countries. So people sometimes they look for alliances, they look for support from anybody who's willing to support. And this is why Hamas had to seek the support of Iran.
As a journalist, you saw the way the media, mainly Western media, is reporting about the conflict. What did you see there?
I think because of the digital media, the social media is very important, and the traditional media, they cannot ignore or avoid showing these videos. So I think we Palestinians, we have won the online battle because everything is being shared instantly without editing. Anybody in Palestine who's got a smartphone is a journalist, citizen journalist. Even influencers, they have to transform their content from travel vlogs, for example, to become reporters. Everybody feels that they have a duty, an obligation to report on what's going on, to expose the crimes. You know, thousands and thousands of videos of, you know, painful children, mothers, fathers being killed, injured, using internationally bad weapons. And at the same time, while our media accounts are being censored by Meta, for example, because we show these videos, on the other side, you have Israeli occupation forces, the IDF, they proudly show their crimes online and they go unpunished. Hypocrisy, again.
Since everyone is posting a lot of things online, so do you think those footages will be used in the future by ICJ against Israel?
This footage will stay there forever because we live in the era of digitalization. And this will serve as evidence by any international court, ICJ, ICC, any other UN body. I mean, it's there, it's really, witnesses talk about their own suffering, experiences. And when I share these videos, for example, loads of my followers, who are over 1 million now, they tag ICJ, ICC all the time because it's a raw material and evidence and should be used. And these videos will be a reminder to the next generation about the brutality and savagery of Israel, what it did in Palestine. Again, what's happening in Gaza is a form of collective punishment. Everyone in Gaza is being collectively punished. No one is immune.
What does just the future looks for Palestine?
We shouldn't lose hope, but for the time being, the future is bleak because if the world is not able to stop a genocide for a year, then what we should expect from the world? You know, Palestinians have the right to have self-determination, to be a free nation, to have their own independent state. Historically, it's the land of Palestine. Israel came from Europe and occupied it. It was a gift from Great Britain by Balfour Declaration, 1917. And as a result, we still continue to struggle and suffer until this moment. But I'm hopeful with the awareness that is being raised. And I'm hopeful that what's happening in Gaza is an eye-opening to the whole world. I'm hopeful that the new generation in the states worldwide, that they now started to educate themselves. This might shift the narrative, and the world might not tolerate this American unlimited support to Israel. And Israel, by the way, is not going to be safe. What it does in Gaza doesn't make it safe. There will never, ever be peace and stability in the Middle East or the region, all the world, without a just solution to the Palestinian cause. And as Nelson Mandela said, the freedom of the world will not be complete without the freedom of the Palestinian people.